get this ready. Okay. Hello, friends and fans. Welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast for another breakdown of the Bizarre Yet Bonafide Podcast, episode 5, titled No Hoax Without Fire. I'm Jack, and as always, I'm joined by Liam.
Hello.
And let's crack straight on with it. So, in this chapter, we follow Grace, and she checks into the Harbinger Motel, which, of course, I learned recently is mentioned in the prologue and is sort of a tie-in to the Cabin in the Woods, potentially. But she checks into this motel because she's looking for evidence regarding the supernatural, and she's investigating the White Lady mystery. And upon her arrival, she meets the receptionist, who seems a bit off with her, seems a bit creepy. It seems as if they want to divulge information to her about the whole story of the White Lady and the sort of the horror aspects of the local area, but at the same time they feel like they can't. But anyway, she checks in to her room, and as a quick weird side note, she comments on like how the toilet is like an old time toilet where, you know, you pull the chain, which it was weird. I was thinking, how is this relevant to the game? But you know, whatever. But she then really cracks on with something that I believe was mentioned in the last podcast. It might not have been actually, but she talks about this travelling sideshow, and it was in the local area of Hackett Woods 6 years ago, and it got set on fire, and everybody died. So she was thinking perhaps this is potential for, you know, vengeful spirits or people coming back from the dead and just haunting the area as ghosts. She also mentioned as well that the fire occurred on privately owned land, who of course owned the woods and also owned the summer camp. So a part of me was thinking, wait, could this be the hillbillies? But then as soon as she mentioned the summer camp, that made me think of presumably Chris, and obviously because it was revealed earlier this week or last week that he was called Mr. H, of course Mr. H potentially being Mr. Hackett, it makes me think that he owns the area, and even he's reluctant to talk about the story about the fire, which I think is rather interesting. She also mentions as well about how the phone line was cut in the motel. So again, it seems very remote and cut off from other civilization, which of course is the perfect situation for all these various cryptids and ghosts to do their deed on a spooky midsummer night's evening. So another point that she raises is about the body in the woods. Now, in the last episode, she definitely said that it was a hoax.
It was just a prank, Han.
That the boy did it to scare his girlfriend. But she brings it up again here and says supposedly it was a hoax. And it comes back to something we was both talking about, mate, how, you know, why would Supermassive or whoever wrote this podcast introduce that as a potential story thread only to then throw it away? I think there is something potentially to mine here, like, could the boy be victim to a cover-up? And who would be responsible for a cover-up? Maybe the police, maybe Travis. Maybe there's something he doesn't want getting out about the area. And it made me think about a video we did, about the werewolf potentially being Travis's brother, and there's might be a little tie in there. So it'll be interesting to see what you think on that. And then it sort of finishes with her. She goes out into the woods to spend the night, and she hears some noises out there. It ends up just being a squirrel, but then it does finish with like the noise of like a wolf or a dog howling. Other things is that, I don't know, there seems to potentially be some sort of romantic relationship between her and Anton. Anton isn't actually present in this episode, but she does that sort of typical girl thing, sort of like floating round the edges of, like, you know, the potential of them being a couple, or, you know, him being into her when really it's probably her being into him. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it as a wrap. It looks like that she's going to be really going after the White Lady, or also known as the Hag of Hackett's Quarry, in the next episode, because that is the given title for episode 6. And yeah, hopefully it will be out before the game, but if not, we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled. So it's quite a lot on there for you, mate. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, a few things, like 2 things to take away, really. One is a lot easier to go into than the other, because I don't want to spoil too much for you. But, like, firstly, you're talking about this receptionist and potentially Travis being very closed off to, like, the public. It sounds like we very much have that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or even that kind of hot buzz, that tight community that don't want strangers or, like, non-locals to know about what's going on. Like, this whole vibe a lot of horror films carry, where there's a secret in town and they don't want it to get out. You know, this is very classic in a few 80s horrors, and it clearly shows that, you know, they're carrying on that style. So yeah, that is really interesting to see. And obviously Grace, not from around the area, is being, you know, getting the cold shoulder when she's trying to seek information. The other thing is about the circus. Now, for those who've played the prologue, knows that this will, you know, does pop up at one point. I'm not going to go too much into seeing what it is, but obviously on top of what you mentioned about it burning down and killing a bunch of people, it definitely does open, you know, your mind as to thinking, like, you know, who this potentially affects. You know, why this is in the midst of this massive story we've got going on about summer camps and werewolves. So yeah, it looks like there's kind of a few entities going on, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they cross paths later on. But yeah, no, really strong episode. Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Obviously the game isn't that far away. It's 5 days away? And yeah, it's not long at all, is it, mate?
No, not long at all. It'll be a relief, actually, like where you've just said that it does tie into the prologue. It'll be a relief once I've played this damn prologue, because I'll be able to, like, go back and watch, you know, the videos that, you know, you've done before, and I'll be able to start to see what, you know, what you've had to hold back, essentially, like when we do like analysis for the prologue and stuff. But it's been a long wait. 5 days, not long now. So yeah, honestly, really looking forward to it as well. And did you want to mention anything that, you know, that we're going to be doing on the channel in the next few weeks?
Yeah, of course. So obviously I put the Stranger Things video out on Monday, but if you haven't heard, I will be doing an 80s School Fest playthrough on Friday night onwards. I've come back from work Friday. I'll be recording it. I'll be getting the videos out as soon as I can. So yeah, if you guys just you don't want to buy the Quarry yet and you just want to watch a playthrough, feel free to, you know, play it along with me. Maybe you've played the standard game and then you want to see how another playthrough's gone out online. Feel free to look at mine. Like I say as well, I'll be doing the 80s Ghoul Fest mode. So if you just want to see, you know, how funky their outfits are, I know there's been some leaks already about some of them. And if you want to see what, you know, different Ghoul Fest has, like I say, guys, feel free to tag along. It'll be fun to have you along for the ride. So yeah, for myself anyway, I'll see you at the playthrough, guys.
Epic stuff. It's going to be a good time on the channel. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Obviously this was episode 5 of the Bizarre Yet Bonafide podcast. There's only one more now, so we really hope that you've enjoyed this series and this breakdown, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye guys, thanks for joining.